Welcome back to the basement, the only place where you can find a hot anime octopus that talks about expensive, shiny cardboard while also laughing at other people who attempt to collect shiny cardboard for money and profits. Well, it seems that the realm of Pokemon is having a bit of a crash, or as I like to see it, a bit of a correction. We are seeing a ton of scalpers recently panic selling all of their product because they are unable to offload it for those massively inflated 1 to 200% price increases. We're currently seeing this the most with the 3 most recently released sets within the Evolution line. That being Perfect Order, Chaos Rising, and now, even though this set has only been out for I want to say 2 weeks, Pitch Black is now falling to MSRP. If you could believe it, and I definitely believe it, the realm of Pokemon is having a bit of a correction. Now, to be completely honest with you, this is probably due to a multitude of factors. The 30th anniversary is coming out. People are realizing that these sets, while they do have some pretty decent Pokemon in them, probably won't hold their value pretty much in the short term, and others are slowly finding out that there are opportunities to buy now when these people are trying to panic sell, because they know that if you take up things that don't have any value to these scalpers right now, they're going to be really pissed off while you have no debt and they are trying to pay it down, watching your numbers increase. But that's kind of beyond the conversation of today. We can talk about Pokemon or really even card investments another day. However, one thing I was interested in talking about, not necessarily the individuals who are losing out because they're not making any money with Pokemon, is one specific individual. One that got into the medium recently of trading card games, that being Magic the Gathering, and now even as well Pokemon. And I'd like to laugh a little bit because it seems that he is slowly but hopefully surely discovering that the market for what he is doing probably won't pay off in the way that he is hoping for. The individual in question I am talking about is the one DarkSydePhil. Now, if you are unfamiliar with this greasy strangler here, the short and skinny of it is he is, without a doubt, probably the oldest, if not second or third oldest, Let's Player that has ever existed on the internet. I can still remember the times watching DSP before he decided to get something to allow him to capture his screen without using one of his DSLR cameras in order to capture his computer or TV. Yes, it was literally within the last couple of years that he finally decided to change that. We're not going to retread all of this man's history. Instead, what I'm more interested in is talking about why he is interested in Magic the Gathering and Pokemon today. To keep it relatively short, Phil got into the Pokemon sphere a couple of months ago when his fans, if you can call them that, decided to convince him while he was playing TCG Simulator to buy Mega Evolution Base, a set right now that, last I checked, still goes for over a couple $100 because of how much hype is still surrounding it. It's probably gone down. Nope, it has not gone down. A set that has mostly maintained its value since its release earlier in the beginning of the Mega Evolution block. Well, after him being convinced by his fans to start opening up Pokemon cards, he would open up box after box, starting with Mega Evolution, going through Phantasmal Flames, and some of the more recent boxes, as well as spending his money on those very hard-earned scalped boxes of Ascended Heroes and multiple other products. I'm not sure if he's chasing that Charizard because he just wants to make a fat payday of maybe $100 or even $200 from buying those boxes at above MSRP, but I think the more simple explanation for why he is continuing to do this after his fans have prodded him to do so is because, unfortunately for DarkSydePhil, he's got a bit of a gambling addiction. Again, we're not going to bring up his past too much, but there is a history with DarkSydePhil when it comes to gacha games or games where you're allowed to gamble your money in exchange for potentially getting something that might be valuable for a team or game that you are playing. Trading cards are no different to the realm of gambling, and I'm sure a lot of people are making arguments in the different comment sections of people that play these games why children shouldn't be allowed to play them. I'm not here to argue about that myself because I did enjoy card games myself as a child. However, it is important to point out that unfortunately for Phil, it is very, very addictive to buy and then open these boxes here. Addicting to the point where it is probably not just because of his fans anymore, minus probably the Magic the Gathering sets that he has opened, to convince him that he needs to open them. In fact, outside of the goading of his trolls/fans that try to convince him he's getting ripped off with some of these boxes, he has gone out of his way to open boxes behind the scenes, even admitting so on camera that he needs to grab more boxes for the people that pay him $50, that is right, $50 per pack to open. Now, I'm not going to do the math on just how much money he might potentially make if he actually does bilk his fans $50 per pack of cards outside of every box, minus the ones like Ascended Heroes or Prismatic Evolution, which I believe cost $100 per pack. Definitely getting the value out of those. Now, if you're curious if he's sending those off to the fans that pay him, the answer is no. He is not sending them off to the fans that pay him. Those cards go into his pocket, and he gets to keep both the money and any cards that have any value. Definitely the charitable individual here. But I'm not really interested in focusing on DSP opening up Pokemon cards. No, today I want to focus instead on the frustration that I have as a primary Magic the Gathering player, watching him come into a hobby that I love and cherish despite the time I have spent in a dark age of it, watching him act like a tourist just because my hobby has decided to take on some IPs that I may or may not approve of, and then using it as a vector to try and peddle himself as a content creator. Now, I should be fair. I don't necessarily mind if you, as a content creator, would walk into a medium and start enjoying a game and ingratiate yourself if you love it. The keywording there is if you love it. The problem I have is I don't necessarily think that DarkSydePhil loves the hobby of Magic the Gathering. Why? Well, let me show you.
I got something in the interim that was actually suggested to me by the audience. I got a full box of Magic the Gathering Marvel Superheroes Play Boosters. Now, I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, but I know a lot about Marvel Superheroes. I used to collect Marvel cards when I was a kid. X-Men Series 1 and 2, Marvel Masterpieces Series 1 and 2, and more.
Starting off here, besides the fact that it was a suggestion from some of his fans that he should buy these cards himself, he comes out of the gate and admits immediately that he has no idea what Magic the Gathering is, and it seems like the only reason why he's jumping into the IP as a total is because it has the faces of some characters from another IP that he has. And while I may not necessarily mind if somebody uses Universes Beyond to use as a jumping off point to get into Magic, that's the entire reason why they decided to bring it up in the first place, my problem will come with the fact that DarkSydePhil not only seems to know nothing about Magic the Gathering, but doesn't seem to respect the IP or its history as a whole. Again, he's only jumping into this because it is Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, Marvel.
I have to open 14 packs of Marvel cards. I don't even know how many are in the box or how many cards are in a pack. We're about to open 14.
See, the thing that's kind of funny with this, and this is my second time trying to record this, so I'll try and make it more concise. He would easily find out a lot of information about Magic the Gathering as a whole if he simply Googled it or tried to figure it out. Now, there might be the argument to be made, although I don't necessarily believe it, that he is trying to hype it up or exaggerate himself for his fans. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think that he really just has no idea what he is doing. And because he has no idea what he is doing, instead of looking at the box where it could very easily tell you, and before you ask, yes, I checked some of my sealed product before saying this, it is very easy to figure out how many play boosters exist inside of a singular box of sealed Magic the Gathering. I believe specifically when it comes to Marvel, it is 30 packs, as they have changed that recently. In addition to that, it should tell him either on the side or inside the pack itself, or even on the bottom of the sealed booster box itself, how many cards come in a single pack. 14 cards plus 1 token card. But does he read? No, he does not.
All right, are we ready? Let's get right to it, shall we? Let's go. It's time for Magic the Gathering for the first time ever, and Marvel cards returning to my life.
It's a bit of a nitpick, but he definitely sounds like he's dead inside while trying to record this. It really makes you wonder if he actually wants to do this, or if he's only doing it because he made quite a lot of money doing so.
Let's get started. We ready?
Let's get started.
Let's start with, why not, Wolverine? Me and this guy got some history. That's for sure. All right, let's open up Wolverine and let's...
If you're curious, there are definitely clips online that will illustrate it better than I can. But to keep it short, DSP has a bit of history with Wolverine. And no, it is not homoerotic in any way, shape, or form. It literally is as simple as when he was young, he saw a Wolverine figure on the shelf, he asked his parents for it, and his parents said no. And ever since then, he brings that up as some kind of traumatic event that has affected him deeply as an individual. As you can see here, he's got some history with Wolverine.
see what we get in our very first pack ever of Marvel superheroes.
Also, he's using scissors to open these. My heart is aching right now while I'm watching this.
Oh, okay. So I opened the pack, and the weird part was there was already a card showing. And I was like, why is that showing? Isn't that supposed to be the back of the cards? So it says treasure. And then on the other side, it says villain. I don't even understand what this is.
Now, I can't really fault Phil too much because he is a quote-unquote new player. Actually, I can't really call him a player because he's not going to play the... I'm just going to be honest with you. He's not going to play Magic the Gathering. If his fans can somehow trick him into playing the game, that would be quite funny. I mean, they were able to trick him into buying the Marvel Play Booster and the Final Fantasy box that we'll look at after this. But I am quite curious to see if they can convince DarkSydePhil to somehow learn, build a deck, and then play Magic the Gathering with somebody else on the internet. And if they are, I'm definitely down to play and clap him because it would definitely be funny.
I don't know Magic, but that looks like a generic card. Like an energy card almost, like in Pokemon. But I don't know what this is, villain, and I don't know if this card has any value whatsoever.
And again, that's like one of the other problems I have with watching Phil open these or get into the realm. It kind of strokes me like it does when I see scalpers talk about these games or try and hop into a product that they have absolutely no idea what it is or why it exists the way it does. Phil says that he's looking for the inherent value of a token that probably costs less than 10 cents. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It really does strike me as tourist behavior. And again, he is new to this field, but you really have to ask yourself, if somebody is walking into something or walking back into something, why? What is their inherent want to get back into it or get into it, just let's say? Is he getting into it because he sees a potential game that he might find interesting? Or is he getting into it because he thinks to himself, oh, this game might bring a lot of value to it. If I play the game, or if I can open the rare cards, I might be able to find something of value. Although, in the regular play boosters, it's going to be kind of hard to do. The cards that actually have value, or at least most of the cards that have value, aren't going to be found in the play boosters. They're going to be found in the collector's booster box. Although I'm pretty sure you can find the Fantasticar in the regular play boosters. It just depends how many he's able to find and if it's still maintained its value. Actually. Oh. Well, I guess it's lost pretty much all of its value. It did get banned recently in EDH, so that kind of makes a little bit of sense.
It's a token card? What's a token card? I don't know. I don't play Magic. No, it's not a rare misprint. Shut up.
It is kind of funny that he has to tell his audience to shush whenever he is opening something. He can sometimes catch it when the trolls are trying to mess with him, but oftentimes he doesn't, which kind of leads into the second video here that I wanted to show you tonight. So for this second video we're going to go through tonight, I'm just going to let the first little bit speak for itself.
Much recently, I went out of my way to get a special box of cards that you guys have been requesting. No, it's not Pokemon. It's something that relates to video games, but TCG as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering.
Now, I do have to say, I might have wished this into the universe. On one of my streams, if I can find it and put the clip in, I will share it. But on one of my streams, while watching DSP open up cards. By the way, you should subscribe to my main channel because my main channel is where I do stream. But on one of my streams, I did tell people that we have to convince DSP. if he's going to be in the world of Magic the Gathering, if he's going to open up Magic the Gathering boxes, he needs to invest his money in not just Final Fantasy, which I know that he likes, but he needs to invest his money in Final Fantasy collector boosters. The $1,800 brother, going to $2,000, I'm pretty sure, soon, of the $250 regular play booster box. Now, I don't think I'll ever get my dream of him buying and then opening the $1,800 box, unless somebody wants to further monkey paw their way into that. But I will consider this just a little bit of a win. Anyway, going back to this, whether or not this was a wish fulfilled by the universe or not, it still is kind of funny and also kind of frustrating that DarkSydePhil is choosing to buy more Magic the Gathering just because of the IP associated with it.
It took an incredible amount of work to get this here because guess what? I ordered it almost 4 days ago and it got lost. It actually
4 days is... As somebody who's worked in packages, both briefly for USPS and then for Amazon, I'm kind of surprised. 4 days is not lost in the mail, Phil. And part of me wonders if he is exaggerating or maybe that there is more time that it took. But 4 days is not lost in the mail. Just saying.
It got lost in SeaTac, Washington, and no one knows where it is. So I had to reorder a replacement box, and here it is.
Oh. Wait. So he ordered a second one, which means that he spent $500 plus, it sounds like, getting these boxes, which means that the other one might show up eventually or refunded. I think it would be funnier if the other one showed up eventually. But he was so unwilling to wait a couple more days that he just bought another box. Okay.
Let's start the set. Here we go. Let's see what we got in here.
No, he's opening it with scissors again. I think a little bit of me dies inside thinking that he's cutting a rare card. At least none of them would ever be serialized because he's too cheap to buy the collector's edition. But my heart hurts.
Okay, so remember, there should be usually a token card somewhere. Oh, look at this. Magic Final Fantasy Art Series. What is this?
So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit on this one here because he spends over 5 minutes trying to figure out what the art series card is. I don't think I need to spell it out anymore what an art series card is for people who do play Magic the Gathering, but he spends 5 minutes trying to figure out if the art series card has any value to it. That one in particular doesn't really have any value unless it's got the gold stamp on it. But he spends 5 minutes plus trying to figure out what it is and how much it's worth. Again, the thing that really just bothers me about him doing this is he seems to only be focused on trying to figure out the actual value of each of these cards. And again, while I don't necessarily think it's wrong to figure out what the value is, when you're trying to entertain an audience like this, or when you're trying to open something and make it exciting, when your only focus seems to be around how much money it is or how much value might go around, it tends to start to sour the reasons why people might be interested in watching you. It definitely makes me frustrated because, as I know, and as a lot of people might know, even if these cards aren't worth a whole lot, the fact that the Final Fantasy boosters exist in the first place is kind of a big deal, with a lot of art treatments from a lot of different artists who have worked on Final Fantasy games in the past, mostly in an art direction. It just sours the mood if all he's focused on is how much money it's worth. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you and have you sit through the 5 minutes that he spends trying to figure out how much this card is worth, and instead we'll jump ahead to him actually going through the different cards.
No idea what I'm doing. Now let's get to the real cards, okay?
Huzzah.
Oh, we already have a full art forest.
One thing I would also like to point out is it'll be kind of hard to see because the camera blurs way too hard because he gets the cards way too close to the screen. But if you pay attention, you can actually see what game each of these Final Fantasy cards come from, even from the basic lands, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you look down there in the little left-hand corner, right next to the number serialization, it tells you that this is from Final Fantasy 11. Keep that in mind, by the way.
Yeah, we should be going the other way. I should be going from where? Bottom up? Because from the top, I'm getting the rares already.
Oh.
Right. We should be doing it from here. Oh.
And again, this is probably a nitpick, and maybe I'm pausing too much, but the thing that bothers me, again, is just, bro, why is it so blurry? Why are you choosing to let the screen blur that poorly? Oh, it looks so bad. It would be a lot easier if he just held them at a reasonable distance other than just trying to smush himself up against the screen. But no, this is what we decided to have instead.
What is this? Look what I just got. Summon GF Cerberus. And it is a rare. It has the foil on it.
That one is from Final Fantasy
Let's see if
VIII.
Cerberus is worth anything.
Oh. Gotta scan it. Gotta see what it's worth.
48 cents. Nope. No. 48 cents. Nope.
Oh. Only worth 48 cents. Hey, that'll be easy for me to get when I want to master set it, if I choose to do so. I'll probably be master setting.
So that's a no. So how do I do these? Do I do them bottom up or up to bottom? I think I do top to bottom is what I should have done. So I did the wrong order technically. Okay, I got to go just flip them over like this. So, okay. Undercity Dire Rat. Yikes. What's up, King Michael? The Call the Mountain Chocobo. That's cool. The green Chocobo. I like that.
Stop getting too close.
Balam T-Rexor. Sure. I guess that is that Final Fantasy? That's 8. That's Final Fantasy 8. Yes.
I can appreciate that he's trying to guess which game it's from. However, he doesn't need to. He can just read the bottom of the card. It's actually kind of easy to read if you know how the symbols of the game go, which, I don't know, is it fair to say that he should because he's played most of the Final Fantasy games? I know he's played at the very least 1 through 7, if not 1 through 10 or 11, so I feel like he should probably know what each of them are. I don't know. You can tell me in the comments if you feel like that's fair to put upon him.
Monk's Fist. And it will not load. Look at that. The camera will not work. Monk's Fist.
Maybe it will work if you don't get them too close to the screen so that nobody can read what they are, Phil.
I'd love to tell you who this is, but the camera doesn't like this card. And this happens with sometimes.
Pretty sure that's Final Fantasy 1.
Why.
Yep, that's Final Fantasy 1.
I don't know. It won't even. It's just a common card, but the camera sometimes won't focus on certain magic cards. Very bizarre. Ambrosia Whiteheart. So it's a white chocobo. Legendary creature bird.
Based white chocobo from 16.
Coliseum Behemoth. That's cool. Big behemoth. Common creature that, carries over many different Final Fantasies. Coral Sword.
That's Final Fantasy 5.
Artifact. I don't know who that is using it. And then this is a two-sided card, but is it a token or is it a card?
It's a card, Phil. I'll give him that. It is kind of unfair to expect him to know, even if it does say on there that it's a creature and not a token. I'll let him have it. He can have it. He can have it because it is kind of confusing for first-timer people, which is why he probably should have had somebody that knew how to play the game, but that's neither here nor there.
Ultimecia, Omnipotent. Legendary creature, Nightmare Warlock. Ultimecia. Isn't that Final Fantasy VIII? Ultimecia? I feel like it is. She's a two-sider. Let's see if this has any value. It's weird it's a two-sider.
It's going to have no value.
No, 19 cents.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, she was the witch.
Oh, no.
Like the boss witch of Final Fantasy VIII, if I remember correctly.
I feel like I've made my point. If you're actually interested in watching Phil open up the rest of those packs or even any more of his cards, I'll make sure to link the playlist where I got them from in the description below. I do want to make it known, I don't inherently hate DarkSydePhil as a person. I know that there are people that do and go out of their way to troll him in crazy or fantastical ways, some of them more funny than the last. I only bring this up because it's just something that, as somebody who does enjoy Final Fantasy, or hell, we'll even take Pokemon for instance, it kind of gets annoying when somebody that is a big content creator, you could probably even take Logan Paul for instance, gets into something. And whether or not that is because they genuinely like it or because they are somebody that sees a market, I guess that would determine if they are a pure individual on the matter or not. For Phil, unfortunately, I just see dollar signs in his eyes. I just see a guy who is trying to do whatever he can to make as much money as possible. Now, in my personal opinion, yeah, go make as much money as you want. King, go make as much money as you want and prosper. If your fans are willing to pay you, as I'm sure you've seen quite a lot of them have, then go ahead and do it. My only real issue with this, though, looking at the entirety of it, is just feeling like he is nothing more than a tourist. When these cards are all opened, when it is all said and done, what is going to happen to them? They're going to go into a binder, or a box that DarkSydePhil opens. He's probably going to put the ones that look the nicest on that shelf that was right behind him. But overall, what's going to happen? Probably nothing. And you might say it doesn't matter, it's his cards, he can do whatever he wants with them. And I would agree with you. They are his cards, and he can do pretty much whatever he wants with them. I just think it's rather unfortunate that instead of having an individual who is interested in the medium or potentially wants to learn how to play the game because it sounds cool, he's only doing it because his fans convinced him that he needs to spend $250 to open a box that has Cloud on the front of it, or any other characters from his favorite Final Fantasy games. If he was really intent on just doing that, funny enough, there is a Final Fantasy card game that is kind of out right now that he could take advantage of. It's just that Magic the Gathering is probably more popular. But I'm always interested in hearing what you guys think. What do you think of DarkSydePhil, or really even other content creators, or hell, we'll even take scalpers for instance, hopping into your favorite TCG games, either because they see dollar signs or because they think that they can make content out of it? Me, myself, and I typically don't mind when somebody gets into something. I really just pray that they are ready to respect the hobby that they are stepping into. Respect that oftentimes does go both ways, and I am also myself willing to give that respect as long as they offer it first. But again, I'm interested to see what you guys think. Go ahead and tell me down in the comments below. Again, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and my main channel if you're interested in watching live streams where I cover drama, or occasionally where I may open cards live. I've got a couple of ideas for other things in the TCG world that I would like to cover and put on this channel. I definitely feel like it is an outlet that I'm enjoying more and more, but I'm always looking for people to suggest ideas for what they might like to see from me. Either way, this has been mommaocco from Diabolic Octopus, and I'll see you in the next one.